Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another space with me, Kalu Aja. Of course, we're talking the economy, personal finance, and of course, your own investments, right? How can you be a better investor? That's what we do every Sunday, 7:30 West African time, and we have a great topic today. On through last week, we had been talking about, the 2025 budget, what's in it, how can Nigeria fund it, and all that. And of course, the topic went to what are the possible ways, right, that Nigeria can get the money to fund the budget, because it's a lot of money. We're going to do record spending in 2025. So, of course, talking about the source of funding is very, very important. And clearly, Nigeria has got a lot of money that has been returned to the treasury from the passage, or should we say the removal of fuel subsidy. So if you just follow in 2023, on the first day after Mr. President was sworn in as the president, he announced subsidy was gone, and immediately we saw the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation increase the price of PMS across Nigeria. So in fact, what that led really is that you have to understand how subsidy works in Nigeria. When Nigeria pays the subsidy, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, which is owned by the federation, states, local, and federal, they pay the subsidy. How they pay it is pretty simple. The NNPC is the sole importer of PMS into Nigeria. When PMS gets to Nigeria, the cost is calculated. That's what they call the landed cost. At what cost has the shipment landed per liter in Nigeria? Nigeria has also got what we call the retail price, which is set also by the regulator. So for us to get a simple explanation, if the landed cost is 100 naira per liter, but the regulatory retail price is 90 naira per liter, clearly you can see that it's 10 naira above the regulated retail price. So what NNPC will do, NNPC will supply that PMS to the local filling stations at 90 naira. Hence, NNPC is under recovery its real cost of importing PMS into Nigeria. That's where that word comes from, under recovery. Because they're not recovering the full 100 naira. They are simply recovering just what they have landed, which is at 90 naira per liter. So subsidy is paid by NNPC. If you go to the Nigerian federal budget, it would be difficult for you to find anything there called subsidy payments. When you saw it in the Buhari's budget, because it was being phased out, so there was an extra 6 months addition there to pay for the subsidy, not to NNPC, to pay for the subsidy, and then it goes out. But since the Bola Tinubu addition came in, subsidy was stopped, then restarted. But it was stopped, meaning that the revenue flow that flowed to FAC increased because the NNPC was no longer charging 100% of that cost to itself. It was only charging a smaller bit than it was before. And we have the figures, guys. We have the figures. And our figures are coming from NETI. If you know who NETI is, NETI is Nigerian Extractive. Let me get the exact name for you. The Nigerian Extractive guys. Let me get it. So it seems you guys are following, right? Let me see. The total amount saved, right? All of last year. The total amount that went to FARC when we removed subsidy. It's about 10 trillion. So to federal, state, and local governments, 10 trillion is what went to them. Federal got, let me get the figures for you. Federal got about 36% of that. State and local government shared the rest. That's how it went down. So the question is that this is not borrowing. This is not money that was borrowed subsidy, the money went back to pay the borrowing. That's the story that has been sold as we moved along last week, and to that effect. The Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy said that Nigeria has saved 20 trillion from the removal of fuel subsidies and also from the removal of the subsidy on the dollar, i.e., that float, where we take away the float, we take away the fixed peg from the naira is able to float. Because it's floating, the CBN does not need to sell its reserves to protect that peg. So there's some savings that the CBN reserves will grow because it's not protecting the peg. So you see CBN reserves today at about $40 billion because they're not protecting any peg. Same with the NNPC. Because the NNPC is not paying for the subsidy 100%, then the flow of funds that have gone from the FARC to the federal, state, and local government has also gone up by that 10 trillion. That's essentially what is happening, guys. There is no savings from borrowing. No. It is essentially that we are no longer paying that money from FARC to NNPC. NNPC is no longer withholding. It has released those funds to FARC, and then FARC shares those funds to the federal and the state local government. That's why you see that going on. So, can we fund the 2005 budget from the subsidy payments? I think the answer is we can't fund everything, but we first of all have got to account for where this 10 trillion went. So it didn't go to the federal government, it went to the federal, states, and local government. So all three arms got a bit of this money. They all got a bit of this money. So where is the 10 trillion? If we can understand what the 10 trillion is, that's a good starting point to say, okay, where did the money go to? And what do we want to spend in 2025 that we should then go ahead and do more taxes? If you follow, Nigeria wants to do more taxes. Your VAT is going to go up to about 10% this coming year. It eventually gets to 15%. That's the plan. But all the money that you are paying to buy expensive fuel, that cash has already come in. Again, 10 trillion, and I'm quoting Netty, it's already coming. So where did that money go to? So guys, that's basically it. And I'm going to share on my TL as I go along the Netty news report. So you can actually see my receipts. This was published in March 2024. March 2024. Before all this became an issue to be, and all that. So it was already been published by the Nigerian Extractive Industries. They have already published that. So there's no argument. The federal government has already published that they received 10 trillion and they share it to the federal, states, and local government. It's not borrowing. We didn't borrow money to pay subsidy, and when we stop subsidy, the borrowing went away. No, this is fresh cash. 10 trillion shared to the three, local, federal, and state. So on that note, let me hold on. Lots of guys want to speak. Olumide, what's on your mind? Had you seen this report of the 10 trillion before? What's on your mind on that, Olumide?
Nice disposition as usual. In scientific space. First of all, I think when I listened, I saw the report on channels, the 20 billion savings, and I was like, why are we going aggressively if that happened? I think I got a lot of pullbacks, like, if not for Naira floating regime and the subsidy removal, and maybe we would have spent 20. So it's not that we even saved. If you look at the analysis, because the federal government is contradicting themselves, and I'll tell you why. I listened to the CBN's CBN dinner, and I got some information about the amount they saved. So his number was a bit conservative, but he went back as 2022. I was maybe it was a typo, I didn't hear properly, maybe 2022. However, the floating of the exchange rate began June 2023.
Yeah.
Right? And if you look at the subsidy, petrol subsidy, me I knew that petrol subsidy never actually took 100% implementation, because when you say petrol subsidy is being used, petrol prices will be static, and we understand what the market is selling, and based on the floating mechanism, one could really predict what the amount of petrol should be like. However, I think I'm tired of the politics around this economic achievement, and that's why I just wanted to add more substance to what you were saying. Karen, definitely understand what is really going on, but I want to put it in different dimension. That's why I really focus about the tax. See, one of the problems I have with these tax reforms, they make it look more bureaucratic than it should be, and the critics and supporters are not even telling the points properly. Taxes are very important for any system, but people are hungry. I'm looking at the end of this year. We are at the end of this year. Rice is 6 figures. How do you sell tax reforms to hungry people? The Europeans, for example, we are at the point where Europeans, for example, are complaining about immigration, and because of the fact that they're facing strong deficit, they're thinking of supporting that before making heavy reforms. How have we done this year? So I think they're just making all this comic achievement. In reality, the reforms look positive, very positive, but the problem is the execution, the medium of communication, how it's being said, and people propagating the messages. Because, I did listen to Mr. Wale too, because I know he's a man of versatile exposure in the financial circle, so I don't expect him to make some basic economic errors. But when I listen to the president's special advisors on many occasions, I just try to avoid, because sometimes you get gaslighted. Because when you say you see 20 billion, just like you said, when you say 20 billion, don't say that because money that you are supposed to spend, that's not saving. So it's just like saying, because I didn't go to public school, because I didn't go to private school, I went to public school. That was the amount of money you're supposed to spend. But when you're talking, it's not showing on the sheet, it's not showing on the statement. And Nigeria's deficit keeps expanding, because if you say 20 billion, 20 trillion naira, our deficit will not be moving like elastic band. And finally, I want to say that the FX floating has not even been a success. It hasn't been a success for 3 reasons. But the CBN has not shown the kind of teeth that Trudeau's CBN did in 1999-2003. You see, the CBN functionality is beyond being a technocrat. You must be able to aggressively sell your points to the fiscal side, because it's like marriage. A wife and a husband. If they don't work in unison, then what is your objective? Because so far, fund allocation efficiency is at all-time low. Inflation has not improved. Food inflation is equal to 50%. So, if I want to judge the CBN, I want to judge the fiscal team, I give them -5/10, because I expected so much in the fact that they figured out the problem setting the year. And also is a very intelligent, smart man. But I think he got fizzled out by the politics and bureaucratic nature of the Nigerian system. And the financial minister till today are not been able to execute the most important thing facing the Nigerian populace, food inflation.
Yeah.
So you cannot really rate these guys so high, Carlo. So that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, but just let's dimension this critically, right? So first of all, there is a cash savings that flowed from the budget, from subsidy directly to the budget. It wasn't a borrowing savings. There was literally 10 trillion that flowed in the year from when subsidy was stopped till March 2024. 10 trillion flowed from NNPC to FARC, and that amount was shared to the federal, state, and local government. That's the point I want to get out. That there was physical, not savings. Not like I want to go to school, then somebody is taking me to school with a car.
Just to go back to it, is that any savings or what was my
physical 10 trillion that flowed, that is raw cash, went from NNPC to FARC. 10 trillion. What went last year was about 9 point something trillion. Then as of last year, 10 trillion. So a 1 trillion extra went. I just shared on my Twitter page. Go to my Twitter page, you see 1 trillion, and you see President Tinubu saying this 1 trillion would have gone to smugglers. So he's quoting an exact figure. He's not saying we saved 1 trillion. No. He's saying we are no longer paying 1 trillion to NNPC. So NNPC has given us back 1 trillion that went to the federal, state, and local government that would have gone to smugglers. I'm quoting him. I put the link, find that link. I just put it on Twitter. Right?
Before I drop, I think it's confusing because, to be honest with you, if you understand my own little knowledge about subsidy, savings, and disbursement, Nigeria makes most of its money from oil, right? And you know that the Naira devaluation had really hampered on Nigeria's FX engine. If you look at this thing on the FX spectrum, are we making more money or are we making less money? We are making less money.
No, we're making more money. So again, on subsidies,
on FX,
we're making more money on FX. If you look at this FAC breakdown, you would see exchange rate devaluation is a source of revenue to the federal, state, and local government. So pull up any FAC disbursement from when Tinubu took over. You will see a line there: forex devaluation. That's an income source.
I'm seeing dollar times. I understand what you're saying that times. I'm seeing dollar times.
No, we're making a loss. The economy we're making a loss in dollar terms. Yes.
Exactly. So finally, I just feel like these things are just more like financial engineering because the reality is that you can't say.
I want us to be clear, right? People are listening, right? What I'm saying, and I have the receipt to prove is this. I want us to be clear. When Tinubu said subsidy was gone, what happened was that the NNPC no longer funded 100% of subsidy payments. Because of that, 1 trillion raw cash flowed to federal, state, and local. The total for the year became 10 trillion that flowed to federal, state, and local because of the removal of subsidy. That's the point I'm making, to be clear. That it wasn't a borrowing savings, it wasn't a financial structuring savings, it was remittance of physical cash, trillion from FAC, NNPC to federal, state, and local.
But why is it a big deal now? Why is it a big deal?
Because people are denying that the savings is not cash, it is borrowing savings henceforth, which means that the 2025 budget cannot get funding from subsidy removal. I supported subsidy removal because subsidy was a waste. And we support you and I because we supported it because when you remove subsidy, you have more money to spend on health, education. Now, if somebody is telling me that we have removed subsidy and we have earned 1 trillion, but this 1 trillion is not cash, it is quote unquote borrowing savings, then they want to remove VAT and take it to 10%. They want to do new taxes. You see where I'm going to? Tomorrow, somebody will tell me, no, VAT was not raw cash saving. It was the borrowing that when we now remove VAT, we use that VAT to pay for the borrowing. That is wrong information. The Minister of Finance was clear as day, 20 trillion. If you calculate from subsidy alone and you add the float, we've saved that money. And that money is raw cash. It is not a promise. It's not reduced borrowing. That's why I focus. It's difficult to calculate how much we saved on the float of Naira. But for the NNPC one, it's Naira and Kobo. Neti shared it. Go to Neti's annual report. That's Nigerian Extractive Industry, NEITI. They published a report. Look for the one for March 2024. The report is there. And you see breakdown to federal, states, and local government area. I'm trying to get it on my system and I'll share it again. So the federal government is NETI, and they have already said way back in March, before this became a controversy, that they received 10 trillion And that 1 trillion was from the removal, directly from the removal from NNPC not paying. Also on my handle, I just shared now for you guys on my handle. Last post I just shared on Twitter. You see the president saying, hey, we saved money that have gone to smugglers. It's right there. I just shared it.
$1 trillion is even less than $2 billion.
True. True. True, but again, how much is student loan? Student loan is how much? 50 billion. 50 billion. So if you take 1 trillion and you give it to student loan, then you can do more schools. You can even do secondary school. So it's a naira, but it's material. It's a trillion. What's our budget today?
I didn't understand.
Of course, hang in there. Let's get some other guys to speak. I've got Okagbai 1, OKIA 1. Okay, you got the floor. Please go ahead. I think it's dropped off. Okay, 1. If it's not ready, let's go to Cyrus. Cyrus, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm very well. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. And guys, I'm also on YouTube. If you have YouTube, you can always find me. There's a video running there so we can talk and can send feeds. But go ahead, Cyrus. What's up, man?
Yeah, so my understanding of the subsidy is that it's always part of the budget of the federal government.
Nope, it's not. It's not.
It's not part of the budget of the federal government.
No, you won't see subsidy in the budget. Look at it this way, right? When you saw subsidy in Buhari's budget, he was making a provision because NNPC was asked to stop paying subsidy. So Buhari puts in his budget an amount to cover as we are transiting. That's why it stopped as of June. You see, however, it stopped at June in the budget for 12 months. So in Buhari's budget, it was to stop at June because that was a transition period. So Buhari says, okay, we're going to remove subsidy and I'm going to put in my budget money to cover for the period when subsidy is going to be stopped. That's why you see it in the budget. It's always been paid by the NNPC, debiting FARC to cover the under recovery. That's how subsidy is going to be paid.
But I remember the CFO of the last CFO of the NNPC saying publicly that for the past, I think, 8 years or so, that what usually happens is that they account for the landing cost and whatever it is that it's on it, right, that is being subsidized, they pay for it. And if they cannot pay for it, the government then comes in and pays the remaining.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
That's always an allocation for subsidy. For whatever it is that the government, whatever it is that NNPC can only cover, like, have to calculate the cost and everything. So that's like my own understanding of like the subsidy. That's what the government
if you go down and look, there's a time Osibanjo and NNPC, Osibanjo said NNPC is paying, NNPC said federal government is paying. Look at what they are playing with words. The NNPC authorizes the federal government authorizes the NNPC to pay. NNPC will not pay until the federal government says go ahead and pay because it's a debit. FARC is not owned by the federal government. NNPC is not owned by the federal government. The money that NNPC debits, if you remember a while back, NNPC was refunding to states and federal monies for subsidy it had debited because they had done that without authorization. NNPC imports PMS. In those days when they jailed Farad Luwal, what was happening? Anybody would import PMS and then it was the PPPRC that would pay for subsidy. Remember that time? It wasn't NNPC. Private people were importing PMS to Nigeria. When you import, you take your paperwork to PPPRC. PPPRC will pay you. Then when we removed the subsidy, it became too expensive. Nobody had dollars to import PMS anymore. So only NNPC became the sole importer of PMS in Nigeria. Because NNPC is the sole importer of PMS, NNPC was then paying for that PMS from its own balance sheet. So NNPC
you're talking about when Tinubu came in.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So at that time, NNPC, according to reports, NNPC said that the federal government is no longer covering the extra cost of it, and that's what resulted into them.
Okay, so who paid? told Tinubu they cannot pay subsidy. They don't have the money. Tinubu says, okay, take our dividends and pay for subsidy. It's in the news. Federal government told NNPs to take the dividends from NLNG and cover subsidy. It's the same thing I'm saying. NNPC pays. They didn't have money to pay. That's when this last fuel price increase was authorized by the president because NNPC said they cannot pay subsidy because dollar had gone up, oil had gone up. So Tinubu said, number one, take the dividends. And Google this as I'm saying it. Take the dividends and pay. And number two, increase the oil price to reduce the cost of subsidy. It's public knowledge. Just Google it. Tinubu authorizes NPC to take LNG dividends and pay. Google it. It will pop up.
But that is not 10 billion naira, is it?
The 10 billion naira is the total amount of revenues that flowed to the federal, state, and local government from last year, 2023, when Tinubu removed subsidy. The NNPC then remitted fresh, hear my words, quote me, fresh 10 trillion to the federation account. The difference of that is the 1 trillion. What they were remitting before was 9. When they removed subsidy, they remitted 10. That 1 trillion is fresh. What they remitted is 10. Google it. Don't take my word for it.
I have a question because I'm looking at Bloomberg that said that petrol subsidy costs the Nigerian economy. I don't know whether it's in 2 years, $10 billion, maybe per annum in 2 years. So if we're really saving 1 trillion from subsidy, does that really mean that we are?
We're not saving. We're not saving. So what? Again, guys, we're not saving. What is happening is this: if the landed cost is 100 and the retail price is 90, that 10 naira difference is subsidy. So what has been happening is that NNPC will submit fuel at 90, not 100. That 10 naira, if you multiply that 10 naira, that is the cost that Bloomberg is quoting, that is costing Nigeria, that 10 multiplied by the volume. That's what Bloomberg is saying. Now, when you then say subsidy is gone, what happens? There is no more 10 naira. NNPC will supply the filling stations at 100. That extra 10 naira that you remove, what happens to that 10 naira? It goes back to FAC. That 10 naira FAC is the 10 trillion I'm quoting. That's what I'm saying. I'm quoting. That 10 naira becomes 10 trillion. The 10 trillion is more than 1 trillion that one was remitted last year, which is about 9 trillion. That's the point I'm making. Let me get Matthew in here. Cyrus, let me get Matthew in here. Matthew, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, just real quick, I appreciate this space. I've got a lot of dear brothers and sisters in Nigeria. Pammy's here and G's in here. We're going to be working with not-for-profits in Nigeria. We're going to have 2 offices in your 2 biggest cities. We're going to be working with regenerative finance, planting trees, picking up plastic. We're going to be working with millions of dollars. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and I appreciate this space.
Send me a DM, Matthew. We'll talk about it. Send me a DM so we can plug it in somewhere. No worries.
Yeah, I'd love to do a one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be working with a lot of money, so I'll send you a DM right now.
No worries. Yeah, let's get EKG. EKG, what's on your mind?
Yes, hello. Good evening, Kalu.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. So yeah, I feel like the fundamental issue here is well, has always been the case with Nigerian government. It's a communications issue. And as regards what's on my mind, I think I'm leaning more towards Olumide's perspective because there have been a lot of almost contradictory statements. I'll start with the NNPC. For example, and this has gone for a long while, and maybe I should first advance the NIT report you quoted about them mentioning the savings. I tried to look for it now and I haven't found it, so maybe someone can help me with it. But let me just go ahead with what I'm thinking. So for a while now, we've been hearing that the NNPC has not been contributing to FAAC, and part of that has been due to, number one, the under-recovery that carried on even longer than President Tinubu announced his subsidy removal. And then I even recall recently them announcing that they are owing about $6 billion, if memory serves me correctly, in terms of this under-recovery payment to some of their PMS suppliers. And so my mind, in terms of course, I know NPC is a state legal entity from federal government, from the federation rather, though they are, more or less in bed together. But it's an understanding I have that this is more or less a loan to the federation. And from the vibe I've been getting, because I'm a financial analyst and I speak with some of these oil and gas experts and even NNPC brass, top brass, it sounds like the arrangement is more or less a case of just like you alluded to, them having to recover some of these debts that they are being owed by the federal government via FAC reductions, and they'll continue to carry these assets really, which is more or less liability to the federation up until the amount is drawn down. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And
Correct. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like they'll finish paying those amounts before they even start paying back dividend to their shareholders in the federation. That's why I was a bit pessimistic as regards all these subsidy savings. But you're now insisting that money has come in.
I'm not insisting. No, I'm quoting FAC. Pull up. Okay, look at what you do, right? Pull up FAC the months before Tinubu became president.
Right.
Which was, what month was that? That was when was this one in? What month was that? April. Okay, so pull up June. FAC sharing. It went up substantially. It went up so much that they only shared 50% to the states. So why did it go up?
There was also devaluation.
No, but why did it go up? It wasn't FX is there. You see FX savings there. Well, why did it went up? Because they didn't pay for subsidy. As of June, NNPC increased fuel price immediately. So the first disbursement, it was so much that Tinubu took 50% and put in one infrastructure. There was that fund again. There's one infrastructure fund Tinubu put the money in. He didn't share the money to the states. Quote me. Google it.
No, I agree with you.
Okay, and so I'm not claiming this is pull up the FAC returns from June when Tinubu became president. That's what Netty is quoting. Netty is saying if you pull up those returns and you add the savings or the savings, it adds up to 10 trillion. And the federal government, states, and local got their share. That's what Netty is saying. Netty is not a producer of the report. Netty tracks oil sales. So they are saying the NNPC, the federation, which is all three arms, has received these sums because fuel subsidy went up. So NNPC has more revenues to share. I'm not making this up. I'm surprised people are debating this. Google. Don't use my figures. Google what I've said. It's public information. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the space today talks about can we fund the budget from subsidy savings. And I'm saying if we can't account for $1 trillion and we take away, we increase VAT, we increase also that cost, can we really then account for it? That's what I'm going to EKG. So you've got the mic again.
Okay, so I understand that, but to my mind, I felt it was more a case of FX supporting that. I think that's what happened then. That's what was miscalculated in the news. That it was more or less an FX argument. The federal government is still, 6.8 billion is the figure. The federal government is still, the federation again is still owing NNPC as a result of this under recovery to the tune of $6.8 billion. So my question is now, so what's going to happen? Of course, I know it's a family affair, they can write it off. But if you're talking about funding the budget using savings you're expecting from NNPC, when you're owing the same NNPC about $6.8 billion, it starts to look like, I don't know.
It's going to be written off because it's owned by the federation, and the federation enjoys the benefits. But let me answer your.
But how about listing plans? It starts to look like
that's a different topic. Let's talk. Let me quote your figure. Let me show you that it's not valuation. As at let's see, in June. This is June. Federal government got. Let's go to the total figure of the amount disbursed in June. 701 billion is the statutory account of FAC. 701 billion. Foreign exchange is 2023. I'm quoting that figure. Yeah, of that figure, that's June 2023. That's what I'm quoting. June 2023. Of the figure, we disbursed let me get the figure you just threw me off now. We disbursed 1.134 trillion. 1.134 trillion. Look how we got the money. We got the money this way. Oh my God. The computer it breaks it down into statutory and differential for exchange. That's what I'm giving you now before this computer. You see, my people are out there.
Yeah.
Hold up. Yeah, hold up. The statutory account was broken down into, Let's see. Oh, Jesus Christ. I have it right here. So 701 billion came from statutory account. 146 from exchange rate differential. You see it? 701 billion came from the statutory account. What's that? NNPC. Out of a trillion, we got 700 billion from NNPC and CIT and VAT. Exchange rate was only 146 billion. I'm going to put this up on Twitter again. Please just go. I've copied it and I'm sharing it on Twitter right now. So you can see my source. Yeah, I want us to. This is small potatoes. All we're talking about here, but you see there. So it's not exchange rate differential. It's not. This is pure money, raw cash that came to the system because we removed subsidy. This is June, the first one. It's right there. So I'm just sharing now on Twitter. Please look at it. I know why it's so slow. Yeah, but you got the bike.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
So I think this puts a different perspective to things. I was still of the opinion, and again, back to what I started with, more or less a communication issue, that the NMDC is still not yet contributing to FARC due to legacy debts and what have you. But if that's the case, then it's a different conversation entirely. But then, we can always, the government rather can do better with how they present a lot of these things. So I think I'll use the floor now, maybe if I have some comments here.
Perfect. And again, guys, just so that we are clear, this is only June. This is just 1 month. And I've shared it on my Twitter page. So go to my Twitter handle, just the last post that I shared. This is only June 2003. You can see the disbursements. 701 from statutory account, 146 from exchange rate, 14 billion from exchange money levy, about 640 billion from it's not even, oh my God. So it's clear that they got this cash. This cash is there. Ibrahim, what's on your mind? Ibrahim Mohammed, how are you doing, sir? What's on your mind?
I'm fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good day. Go ahead.
Okay, I've been struggling with network, that's fine. What is disturbing me regarding this subsidy issue is the federal government are not being sincere. They are not being sincere to the people regarding the 20 billion naira they claim they saved. Is it they save it to spend it somewhere, or they say they could have spent it?
I'm not saying I follow. When they save money, they are saying that money went to the budget to be shared as income. So that money is income to federal, state, and local government. That's what that means when they say they saved money. It was shared out to federal, state, which means that you should hold your state governors to account as well as the federal government. Your state governors also got this money. Your local government chairman also got this money. That's that 1 trillion extra. Everybody got it. So it's not just the federal government. All right, Mohammed? All right, thank you. Let me get Okuchi. Okaibiti, I'm not OKIA1. Okai Apele. Okay, well, yeah, hi. Yeah, hi.
It's Fred Mabiaku.
Okay, go ahead, Fred. Nice to have you here. Please go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay, what I see there is that we are still having the same problem of accountability and disclosures in the budget information or the budget statements that we are giving. Now, if you look at this topic that you just presented, it's really captivating. It says, can Nigeria fund her budget with 20 billion subsidy savings? Now, when I saw this topic, the first question that comes to my mind is that, okay, this subsidy savings, you just explained something just now that it probably has been shared to both the federal and the state and local governments based on the information from the FAAC. Now, this subsidy savings, is there a way it can be reflected in the budget account, it can be shown that the income side of the budget reflects this 20 billion subsidy savings.
Of course, that money is the revenue that the states get. So every state budget would have revenue from FAC. Number one item there.
Is it specified that this particular revenue is as a result of subsidy savings?
No, because the subsidies, that's where we now, that's exactly the point I'm making. FAC, right? FAC, as you see, is just a word for, the real word is the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. That's the real word, CRF, the Consolidated Revenue Fund. So when any income that Nigeria makes, if we sell oil blocks, if we collect electronic levy, if we charge you import duties, everything by law has got to flow to one account. That one account is called CRF, the Consolidated Revenue Fund. In that one account, it is then shared out to federal, state, and local government. So your state, well, I don't know what state you're from, would say we are receiving money. Delta State would say Delta will have three income sources. Number one is the FAC money it gets from FAC. It will get that one from FAC. Number two is 13% deviation. It will get that one. Then number three, it's going to be IGR. If you're a state that does not receive 13%, you only get two. You get like Lagos State, Lagos State gets 13%. If you pick, say, maybe Yobe State will get FAC and IGR. So every state account has those two income elements. What you are getting from the federation account or the Consolidated Revenue Fund, and then what you are going to get internally from your state. If you break down, so when you want to break it down, it's not at your state level. Go back to the FAC account. Just pull up any FAC statement. It's well detailed. You will see where they get the money from. You will see VAT. You will see customs duties. You will see exchange differential. You will see money from the statutory account. Remember that when Nigeria sells crude oil, how do we sell crude oil? We sell crude oil, we have an account in JP Morgan called NNPC CBN account. The president said that we should no longer have NNPC in that account. So the money now flows 100% to CBN. So if we sell oil, the money flows to CBN. Then CBN buys the dollars and gives Nigeria the naira. That naira is then shared to the FAC according to the formula. So when you have a subsidy, what is going on is simply this. When NNPC imports petrol and it has an under recovery, instead of NNPC paying money to FAC, it will use that money to pay the subsidy. That's why Emefiele said that for 3 years, we did not get any money from NNPC into the federation account. That's why Buhari was printing 22 trillion. Buhari did not get any money from oil sales. So he simply went and started to print naira from ways and means to cover. That's what's going on. Does it make sense now?
Excuse me, yes. Yes, it does.
Jeremiah, you just speak there. Just let him finish. Jeremiah, go ahead.
So far, the subsidy savings that have been made since the inception of this new administration has been utilized already in the budget.
Correct. It has been shared out and spent as cash.
We are not seeing any specific projects that we can tie in or key in to the subsidy savings.
That's my point exactly. That's why we're having the space. The space is now asking that question to say, hey, where is the money? If we have not seen the savings from the subsidy being used for education, for health, then should we keep on removing subsidies or should we just allow the subsidies to stand? That's my point exactly. That's my point. Yeah, Jeremiah, hop in real quick.
Sir, look, everything about this government is not transparent. Everything about this government is skewed, is bloated intentionally. These are a gang of criminals.
Okay. Let's just go to the topic. I get. I want this to be an attack session.
Okay, sir. There is no 20 billion subsidy saving anywhere.
There is.
There is nothing. There's nothing like that.
There
if
is.
there's 20 billion
there
subsidy
is.
saving, then why is the government trying to borrow 2 billion?
There is subsidy savings. I've just quoted the figures for you. The question you are asking is very, very valid. Why are they still borrowing when there's subsidy. That's because we have borrowed too much. Let me give you a statistics that you can fact check me. The total revenue Nigeria makes cannot service her debt. The total revenue, I'm quoting as at 2023, because that's the latest report we have. But the total revenue, that's total revenue Nigeria makes cannot service her debt. We are borrowing to service already existing debt. Go and how you get this report, go to the implementation report of the federal government, pull up total revenues, pull up total expenses, compare our total revenues to what we pay to service the debt. You see a big shortfall. The difference is made up by borrowings and debt. We're running a deficit budget. That's why they have to borrow. I get why they are borrowing. But is there a savings? Yes, there's a savings. The question is, where is that savings? That's my question. There is no borrowing. It's not financial engineering. The money has gone to the states, local government, and federal. Again, I'm not attacking the federal. States, local governments, it's gone there. Where's the money? And your audio is, Jeremiah, your audio is a bit low. So let me fix your audio and come back to us. Lekan, thank you so much. Lekan, you got the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
First, we need to understand the elementary the basics. Subsidy is an expense, and we have the revenue side. That's the basic. So, subsidy was never a revenue source. It was an expense. So, when we consume, for every petrol that we are consuming, we are expending it. So it's not like we have it's an income. NNPC, like you explained, was funding it, and that was from the exports. But we all know the issues with NNPC. NNPC has not been making allocations to the federal account for like 3 years or several years now. So basically, the reason why we even have to print more money was because we're not getting enough revenue from the NNPC. So let us not confuse the fact that let's have a clear understanding that subsidy was never a revenue source. It is an expense. Thank you.
But nobody has said subsidy is a revenue source. I'm not sure what you're clarifying. Has anybody said subsidy is a revenue source?
When you said, like, can Nigeria fund a budget with 20 billion subsidy savings? That's implies that that was on the side a revenue which was allocated to subsidy annually, or which we allocate to subsidy annually, as if we had that money coming from a source and we were expending it on subsidy. That was not the case.
That's your understanding.
So you will need to source from what you use, source from other revenues to pay for subsidy.
I think
now that you are no longer paying subsidy, you have only reduced your expense.
No.
You have reduced your deficit. It was never a gain.
No. That's your understanding. Let me repeat again what I said. It's a very, very simple accounting procedure. There's income statement, there's budget. When you sell crude oil, that's an income. Do you agree?
Okay.
When that crude oil goes to FAC, that is income. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
The subsidy is an expense. Do you agree? I am saying, good. If you remove subsidy, is there any more expense?
None. Only if.
No, hold up. Well, let's keep it simple. You agree oil sales is an income. You agree when it goes to FAC, it's an income. It's subsidy and expense.
What you need to understand is what is the level of revenue? What is the current level
Okay,
of
you're
revenue?
speaking English. You're speaking English. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. You said subsidy is an expense, and I said I agree with you.
On the structure, because when you are looking at just opposing cash flow with a simple balance sheet issue.
I have not. So,
revenue of 20 trillion. Let's say, for example, last year the total revenue collection was 12 trillion, which was shared among all the states. Now let's leave that on the side. Look at it from. You have a total revenue of 20 trillion.
It's not a balance sheet issue.
Of course, you will have to look for.
It's not a balance sheet issue. It's not a balance sheet issue. It is not a balance sheet issue. Okay? You are filibustering. It's not a balance sheet issue. People are listening. Let's make sure we explain clearly and correctly. It's an income issue. It's not a balance sheet issue. When you sell crude oil, that's income. When the money is paid from JP Morgan to the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is income. When CBN takes that money to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, that is income. When you pay for subsidy, that is an expense. Income less expenses is net income. The point I am making is this. When the president says that oil subsidy is gone, what he is saying is that that expense called PMS subsidy has gone, which means that the income. Let me land, sir. I'll meet you. Let me land, sir. I don't. Okay, so that others can follow you. I allow you to speak. Do allow me to speak. We are talking about an income transaction, and I repeat again for those listening. When you sell crude oil, it's income. When you transfer the crude oil sales from dollars to naira to the FAC account, it's income. When you pay subsidy, it's an expense. That expense was removed by Mr. President when he says subsidy is gone. What then happens in accounts is that your income will go up because you no longer have fuel subsidy expense. It has nothing to, no, you cannot talk now. It has nothing to do with the balance sheet.
You are making wrong statements. Let me clarify.
How can it be a wrong statement? How can it be a wrong statement? Show me what I is wrong.
When you do not allow me to talk.
Mr. Eka.
Yes. So I explained to you the interaction between the income statement and the balance sheet. And now I'm going to go over it again. You have a business. You are generating a revenue. You are generating a net profit, a negative net profit of 20 trillion naira. Your expense is more than your income. At the end of the day, you are generating a net loss of 20 trillion. You will have to borrow.
You can't generate a net. So why are you bringing borrowing in? Why are you bringing borrowing in?
I think I understand the issue.
No, why is he bringing borrowing in? Listen, the reason why he's bringing borrowing in is that this is a confusion that happens. I want you guys to.
What NNPC tells you as an under recovery is a loss.
So hold on.
Loss to the federation, and you are borrowing to keep that business.
Are you done? I want you to finish. So that when you are done, we'll speak.
Your balance sheet. It's going to impact on your balance sheet because you have to keep borrowing to have your balance sheet balanced. Go to the NNPC balance sheet. The current NNPC balance sheet is on about 600 about 300 trillion on negative. Every time all of that is gone.
Okay, so we have to keep some order. We can't have you shouting and control the mic. So let's keep it a bit there is no reason why you are bringing in balance sheet into this conversation. You are confusing people. Let's keep this very, very simple. Balance sheet, income statement, cash flow are three books of accounts. Let's talk about the income statement. The topic says, can we fund the budget with 20 billion savings? Savings is a balance sheet item, clearly, but let us talk about the income first. Let's agree the income, then you can introduce balance sheet into this transaction. Many people on Twitter have been misled that the federal government did not get cash savings, that this money was money we have been used to pay for borrowings. But because we're no longer borrowing, then there's no real cash savings. I have shown you here with the federal government's own numbers, I'm quoting FAC, that the income from PMS subsidy has gone up. Nigeria has earned more cash when subsidy removed. I've shared on Twitter. So whether you say balance sheet, we are borrowing, I'm not debating that. But I want you to first of all agree with me that subsidy removal introduced $1 trillion cash into the system that went to the federal, state, and local. I'm not debating if it's a balance sheet item, but did that cash come into the federal, state, and local? Did it come in? Yes or no? If it came in, then what are we arguing about? Let's get Larry Ellis. Larry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I see the argument from both sides, and I agree with you, Mr. Carlo. I agree with you that the subsidy removal will bring more income to government. And it's very clear. The moment that subsidy was removed in May, the allocation that goes to the states and the local government, some of them became like twice of what they used to get, some of them like 3 times. So it increased the income in the hands of the government. But unfortunately, what was discovered was that as at that time that there was increment in allocation, that was when our dollar began to have problem. And there's an adage in my play that says, for the benefit of those that don't understand it, a witch cried yesterday, a baby died today. Who doesn't know that the cry of the witch yesterday that killed the baby? So in other words, what we can bring out of that is that many of the governors collected this money because they were not expecting that money coming. In fact, before that time, majority of the states, it was still federal government that was still borrowing them money to pay salary their pay. But the moment this subsidy was removed, none of them had problem paying salaries again. And they have more money in their hands now, but unfortunately, this money was not put to good use. And I believe that was one of the reasons that drove the federal government to insist that allocation must go to the local government directly, so that this money can spread further and you can get value for money for what you are doing. So I agree with you, Mr. Kanu, that there was increment in income. But of course, all those money disappeared because of the greed of the people and the ends of affair in all the states in this country. That's what I just want to add. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I've shared the newspaper articles. These are articles written in March, in November. There's one again from that I mentioned reading here. These are articles written before this argument became an issue. So the federal government already was saying that we got more money from the removal of subsidy. This is the federal government themselves saying it. The Minister of Finance has said we got more money from subsidy removal. Balance sheet is just continuing the issue. The point we are trying to make here is this. Was there more money? Yes. Okay, what happened to the money? It was 10 trillion. What happened to it? And that 10 trillion was shared according to federal, state, and local government area. Where is the money? And if you don't address that, you say we're at balance sheet. What does the balance sheet have to do with anything? Quoting this surge in revenue is largely due to the removal of implicit subsidy, which was even larger than the PMX subsidy we talk about. This again, this is the World Bank. This is the World Bank's chief economist in Nigeria. The World Bank's chief economist in Nigeria is saying that Nigeria got a surge in revenues because of a removal of the implicit subsidy. And I'm going to show it as well. So what are we really arguing about? Let's get who has spoken. Let's get Shuhairi. Shuhairi. You've got the floor, sir. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah. I think you tried. Japanese was Shuhairi.
Shuhairi. I'll let you Japanese now. All right, what's up, man? Go for it.
I'm good. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the other stuff that was there.
Your audio is kind of low. I'm not sure if you can fix that for me.
Okay, let me. Is it better?
A lot better. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to do some clarification to the last guy that spoke about the whole subsidy, trying to mumble things up and calling it a balance sheet issue. So I think it's pretty straightforward and easy if you've been following the run-of-play of events in the country. Firstly, we had full subsidy where the government was paying full subsidy and paying the price at less than 100 naira or one. It started growing to 165 and so. And it was zapping up because of money. And then
the Buhari government only made allocation to pay the subsidy until June 2023. So there was no, arrangement with the NNPC by the former Buhari government to pay the subsidy beyond June 2023. That's why when Tinubu pronounced subsidy is gone, because in the first place it was not there in the budget. So now what they are doing is like calling another name. So they reduced the subsidy that they were paying before, making the price to be 165 and pegging it around, I think, 1,000 naira now. Know that oil is an international commodity and it is valued in dollars. If our currency depreciates, definitely the price goes up. If we are not paying subsidy as of today, we are supposed to be buying petrol at the pump station for nothing less than 1,400 to about 1,500 with the current dollar price that we have now at about 1,700. So whether you call it subsidy or you call it intervention or whatever it is that NNPC is doing, that is why you see NNPC is still the sole importer of the product. That's why you see Dangote and NNPC are going back and forth. Dangote is refusing to sell directly to the marketers and opting to sell direct to NNPC, and the marketers buy from NNPC because NNPC pays the price and pays the shortfall. So it's simple for anybody to know that.
Yeah, and then trying to bring in balance sheet is to confuse the issue. We're not saying there is no balance sheet is debt and loans. We're not saying it's wrong. We're saying answer the first question. I just shared again. I'm quoting the World Bank's treasurer in Nigeria. You know, if you remember, the government in its October speech said that the fiscal deficit in Nigeria had fallen. They use that as an example to say we are working. The World Bank is saying, and I just read on Twitter, we are seeing a fiscal consolidation on the way, with the fiscal deficit shrinking from 6.2 to 4.4. Why? This surge in revenues, this surge in revenues is largely due to the removal of the implicit subsidy. It's right there. This is the World Bank. It's talking about Nigeria's budget. It's right there. I've shared it on the space again. Read that article. You'll see that article. If you go down, you'll see Nigeria's revenues in the first half of the year soared by over 100% to 9.1 trillion on the back of savings from subsidy payments. This was written well issue. What's going on is, and it's sad that people are debating. What they are trying to say is this, right? The federal government wants to increase your taxes. So, of course, as citizens, we're going to ask, what did you do with the money you earned before? Then some quote-unquote influencers are all over social media saying there is no savings, that savings was borrowings, that we then use the savings to pay back. That's not what the numbers are saying. The numbers are very, very clear. The federal government got cash revenues. States got cash revenues. Local government got cash revenues when subsidy was removed. It's right there. And look at the dates. These dates were actually well before this new controversy. So it's a bit sad that we're doing this. And that means that people can't trust their government. If you are going to change, tomorrow if you increase VAT to 10%, you come and say, oh, it wasn't savings. We need to pay for something. It's a balance sheet transaction. That's sad, really. Yeah.
Very sad. So I just think people should not, try to play politics with everything. Policies affect human life. So when we try to discuss things that affect human life directly, we should try and be as honest as we can. There is subsidy. You can call it any name you choose to, but there is subsidy. If there is no subsidy, we will be buying petrol at the international pump price, which we are not doing now. Yes, other factors can help bring down the petrol in Nigeria. We have the commodity in country, and now we are getting refineries. If we have all these factors in place, yes, we can get it at a slightly better price than what other countries that don't have these things are buying, but not at 1,000 with the current exchange rate that we have. So there is definitely subsidy. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me here. Mr. Nikon is back.
Can I speak for a minute?
Sure, go for it. No one interrupted you, Mr. Nikon. Go ahead.
Okay. So, told you before, let us know the income statement is tied to your balance sheet. You understand? Your income statement is tied to your balance sheet. Whatever profit you make is added to your retained profit. Nigeria is like a business, a continual, a going concern. Okay, you have been incurring, like I explained before, subsidies and expense. Whether you are using your revenue to pay it or not, it is an expense.
I can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're still speaking.
His network is.
Mr. Leka, your network is very, very bad. I know I'm not hearing you. Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Okay. So let me take it all over again. I said the income statement is tied to the balance sheet. Whatever profit you make is on your retained earnings in your balance sheet. Nigeria is a going concern. It's like any other business. That is how it is structured. That is how every other country is structured. You need revenue to keep. You need your balance sheet stable in order for you to be a going concern. The more you keep incurring debt, it will come to a point where your borrowers will no longer be able to loan to you. Now, the reason why I prefer to look at it from the balance sheet point of view is this. We all know very well from Nigeria's earning that right now, if you add all of our expenditures together, our expenses are more than our income. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Very good. Which then means that every year that we incur a loss, it is going to eat into our retained earnings. It's going to eat into our retained earnings. Okay? And for you to balance that, balance your books, you need to borrow. Otherwise, you are no longer a going concern. Now, what has happened with the subsidy is that you are no longer paying it. It means you will not have to borrow additionally. You already have your debts on your books, which you are paying an interest on. And like I explained on my tweets, right now, our total interest on our loans is about 90% of our revenue. So whatever subsidy we are paying is borrowed. Let's get that very clear. You cannot eat your cake and have it. Nigeria's expense is more than its revenue. So the reason why, which was why I was trying to explain to you that what you are looking at it from a cash flow point of view. I could get 10 naira, 100 naira right now. And okay, I have an expense of 200 naira and I have 100 naira. I can decide and say, I want to pay my child's school fees first. I want to pay some of my debtors first. It doesn't mean that I'm still not owing 100 naira. I am still owing. And eventually, it's going to catch up with me. Because at some point, my creditors will tell me they can no longer borrow money to me. Let's get that fact straight. That was what I was trying to explain to you. Our expense is more than our income, and it is no longer sustainable. Right now, even if government borrows, which was the last one I tried to make, even if we borrow right now, we have infrastructure deficits. So it's better for us to borrow and build our infrastructures rather than spending additionally on the subsidy. Okay, so when you say can Nigeria fund our budget with the 20 billion subsidy savings, what I was trying to clarify to you was that already as of last year, 90% of our revenue was spent servicing our debts, even though it was actually about 60% of it that was serviced. We were carrying over about 60% of it. So for the country to run properly, we need to restructure. Just like somebody, I forgot this guy's name. He recommended that the NNPC should be restructured. We need the NNPC's balance sheet restructured. They need to raise new capital. They need to recapitalize.
Okay.
So that
okay, Mr. Leka, I mean, you said the same thing you said before, and there's no debate in what you said. I think you are talking about a different topic, and you're not coming to our topic. All what you said is correct, but the point we are making is simple. If you've been on Twitter for the last 2 weeks, there's been a debate on Twitter if the 20 trillion was cash, or if it was an accounting entry whereby we borrowed to pay for subsidy, then when we got the 20 trillion savings, it's simply a reduction in the borrowing. That's what the debate has been on Twitter. I have said, but let me get Sir, Mr. Leko, it's not me saying, I am not the one saying. I have quoted FARC to you. I've just put on my tweet Mr. Bayo Ononuga saying it is 5.4 trillion. The Minister of Finance said 10 trillion. The World Bank said 10 trillion. FARC, NET, this is not Kalu Aja talking. I am saying that we got income from NNPC. That income was used to pay subsidy in the past. Tinubu stopped it, which means that the total revenues now, or the bulk of the revenues, will no longer go to pay subsidy, but will now flow to FARC. I have shown you evidence that the federal, states, and local government. No, Mr. Leko, no, you can't come in, sir. Nobody interrupted you. You are debating.
As a country is subsidy.
That is not the point we are making, Mr. Leko. Mr. Leko, you are being unnecessarily, you are not listening and you want to have your way. Nobody is debating what you are saying. The topic is not about how do we balance our balance sheet. It's a very simple topic. If we have made 20 trillion, can a part of that 20 trillion go towards our budget? I have not said yes, we have not said no, but that's what we're debating. You are saying we should ignore the income and look at the balance sheet. No, money has come in. Cold hard cash. My state in Abia got this money. And I'm asking, where is the money? And you are saying I should not ask for the money. I should get the balance sheet of Abia State. No, this money came into states, local, and federal. 1 trillion difference. It's not in debate. World Bank, Bayo, Tinubu, everybody has posted the numbers. What are you debating, sir? We gotta move on.
Yeah, I think you said enough. I think
mostly okay. Yeah, I'm making this like people listen and are not really tuned to this government accounting. I don't want to leave here with the wrong impression that we are debating something that's very, very esoteric. All your state governors got this money. And we're simply asking you to put a searchlight on your state government. Where is the money you got? We got money from FARC when we removed subsidy. Where is the money? Did any social service improve in your state? As of today, I hear no state is paying the new minimum wage. I heard federal is no longer paying the new minimum wage. So if they're not paying new minimum wage, where is the money now? Because according to Mr. Bayo Nonuga, I just shared that tweet now. Mr. Bayo Nonuga said that the money is going to be used for infrastructure and social services. I just shared the tweet now. This is the spokesman to the president. But let's get Monsieur K in here. Monsieur K, thanks for holding on there. Monsieur, go ahead. Monsieur, your hand is up, so I see you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Hi, everyone. Good to be here. I'd like to attempt to answer this question. This question here on the topic. Can we really fund our budgets with these 20 billion naira savings? I don't think so, because of our fiscal discipline. We have a spending problem. Our spending does not come with any sort of discipline or accountability. So I don't see that, even sufficing in the long term. And we also have a problem with what's called revenue collection. Those are not even clear. And if the government or nothing changes, if the status quo remains, then I don't see a really bright future with a budget that has been fully executed and sufficient with the subsidy savings. That's my take on this.
The budget is more than 20 trillion. I think Nigeria wants to spend more than 20 trillion. So clearly, 20 trillion can't fund the budget. But it's a question to elicit discussion. But 20 trillion can fund a lot of things in Nigeria. It can fund students' loan, it can fund roads here, bridges here. So ask yourself, what's the infrastructure project you have seen in the government fund from last year, June 2023 till this year? What have you seen in the economy that you can see, you can point to and say, this is money from savings. What the government did is no different from what PTF did. PTF was the same thing. PTF removed subsidy a bit. The federal and state local governments got more money. But because it was a military regime, all the money went to the federal. And the federal government took that money, created a fund called the Petroleum Trust Fund, and used that fund to do infrastructure and other services. Same with Shopee. Shopee was under the civilian government. We created a fund called Shopee. The federal government took their share of the savings they got from subsidy removal, put in Shopee, and said to invest in infrastructure. The exact same thing has happened today. Today we have removed subsidies, which means there's an increase in inflow to the federal government, states, and local. The simple question is, where is that money? Can we get an accounting of that money, Naira and Kobo? We know the gross amount that went from NNPC to FAC with the 701 billion. We know the gross amount monthly. But can the federal government tell us, okay, this is the subsidy savings in this FAC, this is the money we got for subsidy savings, and this is what we have used it for. Let's see that accounting. And let states also tell us, okay, we got $1 billion from subsidy removal, and this is what we have used it for. If you don't do that, it makes no point to keep on taxing Nigerians over and over and over again because you're not accounting. This is the point I'm going to. If you start making it a balance sheet issue, you are bringing sophistication to this matter. This is not the first time that I remove subsidy. IBM or Abacha removed subsidy, we created PTF. Or Bastion removed subsidy also, we created we created Shopee. So it's the exact same thing. When you remove subsidy, it's a revenue event because you're no longer paying an expense. So the question that we're not answering here is, where is that money going to? Don't give us general descriptions. Give it the project. We remove subsidy for, we got 10 billion, it has gone to this school, it has gone to this road. Give me specific. If you go to PTF website, you will see all the PTF projects. Go to Shopee website, you will see all the Shopee projects. Where and what have we done with the money under this subsidy removal in 2023? That's the question. Let's get Blackie. Oh, Blackie not added to speak. Let me add Blackie real quick. EKG, your hand is up. What's up? EKG, your hand is up.
My hand was up. I was just trying to explain to Mr. Lekon the whole balance sheet issue. But I wouldn't sweat. I will just answer your question. Yeah. So I'll answer your question. The question as to what the money is being used for, I think every Nigerian is very much aware of what it's being used for, really. It's being used to buy a private jet.
Oh my God.
It's being used by Mr. Wiki for his frivolous activities, including but not limited to buying houses for judges. It's being used by our state governors to buy, I think it was Zamfara state governor recent. One of them was flaunting the most recent 2025 vehicle, BMW, even though we are not even in the year 2025 yet. And I think that also shows what the money is being used for. Let me leave it at that.
Interesting. Let me get Engineer Khalid. Engineer Khalid, you've got the floor, sir. Engineer. I don't disagree with you, but but let's get Engineer Khalid. Engineer, you've got the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Khalid. Good evening. I wanted to ask some questions because this topic we are discussing is very crucial. I wanted to ask how much is Nigeria's budget? Number one.
For what year?
For the next year.
Oh, let me look for it. Let me give you the exact figure.
I think 2020.
In billion or naira? Maybe you wanted it. You wanted the naira on billions. In naira, 47. In dollars, 28.
So 28 billion, sorry.
28 billion. Yeah. 28 billion.
Okay, so if now we are saving 20 billion.
Naira to dollar, $28 billion.
How much are we saving from subsidies?
So I would say about 10. That's what I figure I've seen. 10 trillion.
10 trillion in dollars.
So 10 trillion convert to the dollar. Just remove 2 zeros. No, remove 3 zeros.
Okay, so the question has to go back to, because now we are saving all these amounts of money for not paying these subsidies. So now the question is, the state governors, the state governments
are they doing better now compared to when?
Good question. Good question. That's what I'm asking, sir. That's the question I am asking. That's what I'm asking. We've saved money. Money has gone. Where is money? That's what I'm asking. I don't want. I know finance. I can go into detailed accounting with you, but that's not the point of this case.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the point, but since you are not the one to answer the questions, if anyone is here that can answer this question, because I want to get.
Can I just ask a simple question, Carlo?
Yeah, sure. Go on, ask us.
Was there a deficit last year or not?
There was a deficit.
Okay. How much was the deficit?
The figures escape me. I can search for it. Give me a quick second. I'll give you the. What's the point?
And do me a favor. Compare the deficit with our subsidy expenditure. I will not say more like that, please.
What would I get if I do that?
To answer what I said from the onset.
You are not wrong. Nobody is saying what you said is wrong. Nobody has said it's not a balance sheet item. Nobody has said what you said is wrong. That's not the point we're making. The point we're making is that you are trying to elongate this discussion to bring in the balance sheet to hide the issue. You are hiding the issue. The issue is not about balance sheet. The issue is this. Where has the subsidy? What state are you from, sir? What state are you from? Let's assume you are from.
I am from Ogun State.
What has Ogun State done with the subsidy payments increase activity? That's the question.
I can see a lot. And I want
Excellent.
to see their book
So,
to expand further on that. But I could see that they are doing a lot. The funds are not enough. We all know.
I agree. So if you can see a lot, you've answered the question. That you are perfect. You are okay. That's what this space is all about. We want to first of all establish that there is a cash flow from the federation to federal states. We have established that. You agree?
I would love that you find out what I asked you. And then
What will that change?
Okay, let me tell you what to say. This is what it will simply say, right? Our budget for last year was about 24 trillion. Okay? Our budget for this year is 48 trillion. All things being equal, it means we need an extra 20 trillion if we are going to run the budget 100%. Assuming. Am I clear on that?
Yes, smart. Yeah.
Now, the 24 trillion budget of last year, was it fully funded by revenue?
No.
Good. So we had a deficit of about 10 trillion or so.
Okay.
Which was what I tried to explain to you was equivalent to subsidy. So essentially we could say that if we did not pay subsidy, if we run our budget last year 24 trillion without adding subsidy, we would not be owing.
No, sir. No. You are bringing this is where you say it and then we lose track. Okay. Subsidy, you brought the word here. Subsidy is an expense. You agree?
Yeah.
An expense to what? To income. Hold up now.
Something about the budget for last year.
There is no something in the budget last year.
Exactly.
What is exactly? Exactly what does that mean?
What I mean is that we overshot our budgets.
But that's not. So, Mr. Lincoln, I can start talking about depreciation also. I can say depreciation of federal vehicles was 20 billion. And I'll tell you to compare depreciation last year with depreciation this year. To tell you, it's immaterial. It's immaterial. Don't explain, Lincoln. Don't explain. You've taken enough of the time, sir. I think we have to move on. I'm not debating with you, sir. And nothing you have said is wrong, but you are basically trying to confuse the space. I won't let you do that. You've said it over and over and over and over again. What are you trying to establish?
Because you are trying to run.
How can I confuse when I'm posting federal government own numbers? Okay, sorry, I'm going to mute you. Okay, I've muted him, and I won't let him come back because he's confusing the space. It's not my figures, people. It's not my figures. I have posted the federal government, World Bank, Bayo Ononuga. I have posted FAC. It's on Twitter. Look, I've posted it. It's not my figures. And they all say that the government brought revenues, income. We all got, this is not, NNPC sold crude oil and received income. Factually, the question I'm asking is, can we take that income to fund the budget? And it's a way of me saying, what happens to the revenue? And I'm saying, go to your state and say, hey, state governor, you got money from the federal government, from a fact, because some was removed. Where is that money? There should be proper accounting before we start taxing people. What is a discussion on deficit? Okay, I'll take him off.
We should run with less deficit.
I've taken him off because he's not respecting the space. So let's move on.
I think that's where I wanted to come in the space, because if you look at the amount of money shared across the federation and look at the standard of living of the populace,
exactly.
From an economic and market perspective, there's the point that I don't say it's from Ogun State, it's seen enough. I was already clarified there. What I say is seen enough. Because you know, Ogun State shares close proximity with the country's business capital. Now, if you look at FI, if you look at internal IGR, you look at MTI, yes, they brought in MTI. The amount Ogun State is bringing is not what Ogun State should bring. And also, if you look at the Niger Delta, look at the level of development.
Those ones are a different animal. Niger Delta people, different animal. Yeah, different.
Carlo, I really get what you see. People need to understand your space, and I think a lot of sometimes political bias and cynical sentiment sometimes play on their head, because I understand you're trying to track the phone and see where's the money, what has before you bring out, and that's why I'm happy you said that before you bring it, because you see, the problem I have with this government is not the reforms. The problem I have with government is execution. You want to solve AI before you tackle food inflation. You want to solve tax before you settle accountability. We have an accountability problem in the FX market. We have a food problem in the Nigerian economy. We have a productive. I shared top 10 websites for 5 countries: US, UK, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria. In Nigeria, top 10. After you put Google, Sportsbet is number 2. Then I can't remember number 3. I think it's consulting. Then another, yes, it's on my timeline. Another top 10, 2 pound site, top 10. I checked America. America is a country that you see that they're not so religious. Porn was not on the top 10. Amazon, Facebook, YouTube. So you see, the thing is that we can say what we want to say, but the truth is that data is on our face. The country is not producing. We are distracted as a people. Let's ignore the fact that we are hungry. Let's ignore the fact that we are not so educated. But this is why we're wasting our time on social media. That's why the government is having its way, because look at what this is all about. You're talking about accountability. People rather than people understand why you're shouting about accountability, they are fighting you. So I think
I mean, again, remember, if you go back on the tweet, just to be clear, nothing the guy is saying is wrong. The point is that he's trying to make a point that is immaterial. We're asking a question about, was there income? Yes. Where's the income? Then he's saying that we should look at balance sheet. No. We're asking, where's the income? Where's the income? Simple. Where's the income?
Exactly. I agree with all the things he said. But I think, he was very offensive, very loud, and I think he didn't pass his message in such a way that the international professional people. So I think let other speakers, and you have picked on the message already. So
gotcha. I want to just make a point. I shared something yesterday. 9 African countries whose incomes have doubled since 1990. I'm going to retweet it again. 9 countries in Africa whose incomes have doubled. The list, there are about 1, 2, 3. There are about 9 names there. Ghana's income. This is Ghana that says bankrupt. Ghana's income, GDP per capita. So that means that, right, the GDP per capita, how you measure wealth, that GDP per capita in Ghana doubled from 1990 till 2022. Ethiopia, their GDP per capita doubled from 1990 to 2022. Rwanda, their GDP doubled. Uganda, their GDP doubled. Burkina Faso, their GDP doubled. Mozambique, all these countries I'm not calling US, so I'm calling Mozambique, Burkina Faso, Uganda, Ghana, all their incomes doubled. Ours did not double.
Our income cannot double, Kalu. We spend most of our time on sporting beds and on sites.
Don't they bet in Ghana?
They don't bet as much as I will share you Ghana's data. They don't bet as much as you see that the problem we're facing. And we're not facing the reasons that the Nigerians are distracted. We're not producing as a nation. We're not as educated as before. Apart from the Southeast, education in the Southwest has dropped. Education in the South has dropped. Education in the North Central has dropped. Education in the then apart from Lagos, productivity has dropped drastically. And Lagos that you want to say, okay, you can do better. So if you look at it face to face, Nigeria is not doing better. Let's be honest.
I still watch you for a reason. Please request to speak again. I added you, but I think you dropped off. So request to speak again, and I'll just add you. I still watch you for a reason. Dio, you've got the floor. Dio, please go ahead. Dio.
Okay. Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Kalu, for always hosting this space.
Thank you.
I often listen. So just to go straight to the point, can Nigeria fund our budget with the 20 billion subsidy saving? In my opinion, I would say no. And I think I would not like to go to the balance sheet argument, but then when you look at our income and our expense line, you will still notice that our expenses are way above our income. So even when these subsidy savings are coming in, when you say we make the income, which, well, I just said this night, it's still going into, we're still using it to service a lot of expense. It would have been nice if we're using it to service expense in the area of education, securities, and things that at least by making a net loss, we'll still know that by improving certain areas in the country. But then, there's still a lot of frivolous spendings going on. So, first of all, investments are not coming in as it should, and then our spending frivolous, we have a very bad spending habits, at least as the people and even the government. So, even this subsidy savings is not even enough to even fund our budget. But now, it's not, because of our spending, it's not also going to the right use, in my opinion. So I would say there's a lot that we need to do better to be able to achieve, because then if we want to say that the subsidy should be able to fund our budget, it means net we should be able to make a net profit. And now that can get us to a net profit. Yeah. But with better spending, we can improve a lot of social amenities. That's what I think.
Okay, now I agree. And again, all over Twitter, I'm seeing folks saying that there's no revenue because it's a deficit. Listen. Pull up President Tinubu's October 1st speech where he listed his performance, what he did well in. You will see him state there, the fiscal deficit has reduced. What does that mean? It means that Nigeria is owing less in relation to its revenues. Why did that happen? Because NNPC is there to pay more money to FARC. You can't eat your cake and have it. You can't claim fiscal deficits are going down because Tinubu is raising more taxes. Then come and say that there's no savings from NNPC because they are not paying. You can't eat your cake and have it. NNPC is not in the federal government's budget. I repeat, NNPC is not in the federal government's budget. Pull up federal government's budget. You won't see CBN, you won't see NNPC. What you will see is monies from valuation account. When the NNPC sells crude oil, it goes to the valuation account. Subsidy is a debit on that account. That's why it was not flowing to FARC. When Tinubu removes subsidy, it means that NNPC will credit FARC. So when you keep on bringing deficits, you are running to balance sheet. Focus on the income statement. The raw cash coming to Nigeria has gone up because we removed subsidy. It's incontroversial. Let's get Chinedu. Chinedu, you've got the floor. Chinedu, go ahead. Chinedu.
Good evening.
Yeah, hi, what's up? Go.
Yeah, I'm good. See, this is what I want to say. I think some of these people bringing up this argument should be a look at the data. If you look at the data, you will see that the federal allocation has been increasing.
Clearly.
I've been following another state, which is my state, recently. Between January and June, between January 23 and June of this year, our allocation has increased by almost 70%. Now, see what's happening. We talk about inflation eating deep because the cost of building 1 kilometer road, this is how I've been analyzing Anambra State budget and be following it to know how to call the government word. See what has happened. Inflation is eating deep. We're getting more money, but then something started happening. Inflation came in. Now, the cost of building 1 kilometer road has more than doubled. This is the only way this money we are saving can serve us for 2025 is when we learn to budget money for key infrastructures and policies. Look at what is happening in Enugu State, where the governor knows very well that even though the money we're getting has increased, but we are limited. But then the governor goes to still budget money to buy airplanes and some other things that are not directly. And now when we talk about productivity, if we don't invest in the key areas that will make the people productive, like Olumide is saying, more people are betting. Why won't they bet? Companies are closing down and these people are left without jobs. They are looking for opportunities to feed their family. People are becoming more hopeless by the day. So I think the only way our government should help us is one, to begin to look at key areas and put this money into those key areas that will have direct and expedited effect on the lives of the people. Or the federal government should do another thing. This money that we are saving, that we are adding to the FAC, giving to the state, is either we mandate a percentage that comes from subsidy and say it must go into this, either education, creating more jobs, or building factories, and we are agriculture. If we're not doing that and we allow governors to spend anyhow, the federal government is allowed to spend anyhow, you wake up, you decide to buy new cars, you decide to take all your ministers and all your appointees to France. No, we cannot. We really need to begin to prioritize what we do with this money. But whether the money is coming in, nobody should stop arguing that. Go and look at your state allocation and go and see. Some of these people, we don't want to look at. Even my local government, I was surprised that the local government in 2 months, within the last 2 months, received more than $1 billion. Can you see that? If more than $1 billion is coming in for a local government, we should be seeing more results, but we are not seeing because of our
and that's what we're talking about really. With this space, no questions are asked to elicit responses. What would this space actually saying is that where is the money? 20 billion is both from the forex savings and from subsidy. I want to leave forex savings alone, that's a different animal. But from the PMS savings, we should be able to get more money to health, education, which we're not seeing. And that's really my take. So, yeah, let's get, let me get, Blackie. Diverse. Can I pronounce right? That's Diverse. You got the floor, sir. Go ahead. Thank you. Diverse, not speaking. Dollar, Dollar. Please go ahead, Dollar. Diverse.
Yes, sir. You know, the thing is this. That's the first I'm hearing of it. $1 billion gets to a local government. I do not genuinely believe that.
I didn't say $1 billion. I said it was shared. 10 trillion.
Anyway, there's no way $1 billion gets to a local government chairman
How will you know?
Look, when I was in Nigeria, I'm talking nearly 30 years ago now, Obo was our counselor. He used to ride a horse. And we used to always sing, Obo for counselor, and it was a So there's a billion miles to a local government chairman in Amuwodofe that people will not know.
Sir, the lowest earning local government in Nigeria gets minimum 250 million a month. The lowest, which means in 4 months about a billion. So I know what you're talking about. You can check it out.
Okay. I don't know. You see, the thing is that, sorry, matters might have changed.
Correct.
So, okay, let's put it this way. What are they doing with it?
That's my question. That's my question.
And that folks should be asking to say, okay, Benny, you've got 250 million naira. What have you done with it? You need to itemize it.
Yep.
And say, okay, we did this, we did that, we did that, we could not do that. Kind of thing. Because it's genuinely infuriating for me anyway. I think of it like, now that you're telling me that the first time I did it, I would never have known that. You're getting 250 million naira.
More than that is the minimum. I'm saying minimum. Minimum. You can pull up fact receipts. You will see each local government area in Nigeria, how much they get. Some get nearly 400 million. The richest local government in Nigeria is Alimosho local government area in Lagos. That's the richest. They get nearly 600.
I know Alimosho because I went to command.
Yeah, they get nearly 600 million. So it's a lot of money. Local governments are hiding. That's where they hide money and they spend.
So what are they doing with it?
Your question is as good as mine.
I think we could look at the fact that most states, that's why the government called. So,
you're right.
That's another argument. But there's something I also want us to look at. I think we need to base on Nigeria state, education, health, and culture. Because when you said all these things, where the money going to? And I was just thinking that because I was looking at the metrics on each state, and I looked at how they balance them at this budget, next year coming for next budget. And one of the reasons why I said that Lagos really impressed me this year was because, okay, they focused they looked at agriculture, infrastructure, and logistics. They took those things serious, and I think I could see it in relationship with the budget. But if you look at states like Ogun, look at states like Delta, look at states like Kaduna that used to be a fiscal responsible state has lost the aurora. You look at Sokoto, Enugu is another interesting state. Enugu, you see that the governor there knows what he's doing. And it's not even just the optics. Look at fiscal responsibility and look at the level of economic atmosphere in that state, coast state. It tells you that there are only few states that are performing well, decently. Nothing exceptional, yes, but decently. Most states are performing, and that's why I said that we really need to have a space because the Nigerian ecosystem around budgets have been centered across federal government, and I think that has eaten states underperformance for too long because they are the
do you not feel the same thing I'm feeling? What do you use money do?
But that's what we're asking. That's what we're asking now. It goes to the balance sheet, sir. That's what we're asking. It goes to the balance sheet. That's what we're asking. So, Olude, to your question, like I did a study. There was a time on Twitter I was posting that the workers in Lagos State should be paid far more than what they had been proposed to be paid. I think they were proposed to pay them 75,000 or 85,000. How much were they proposed to pay in Lagos State? 85. So I was posting on Twitter that they should be get paid much, much more. People were attacking, so I did a study. I took all the states in Nigeria. I took their total income, that's FAC, IGR, 13%, total income. And I compared their total wages, salaries, and employment benefits. This was for 2023. I got my figures from the the audited account of the states. Some were rubbish, some are very, very good. Let me just give you a snippet so that if you want to have this space, let me tell you what you should expect. So I selected a few states. I selected Lagos, Rivers, Abia, Ogun, Kano, Borno, Zamfara. Lagos states, I won't quote the figure, but let me just give you the percentage. This is the percentage of the total revenue that goes to pay salaries, wages, and employment benefits. Lagos is at 16.28%. 16.28%. So all the money Lagos State makes, about 16% goes to pay salaries, employee benefits as at 2023. Everything combined. I didn't take IGR. I just picked what they get. River State 14%. They pay a lot of board members. You see, the absolute River State called board members. I don't know what that is, but they pay board members a lot of money. Abia State 20%. Ogun State 25%, Kano 24%, Borno 21%, Zamfara 29%. So we always say we don't have money to pay salaries. Where is money going to if you're paying 29% of your income as salary? Where is that money going to? It's interesting if you want.
Now, TV, I can tell you where it goes to.
I don't say where
it goes to. They come use and buy vehicle for Germany.
Okay, it's a deal.
And I mentioned I'm not even joking. I worked at Jackie Lambover in Coventry. I started for life. Now,
okay, I'll speak, right? Let me get a little bit to speak now.
Yeah, no bother, yeah.
Lagos is the most indebted state, so definitely
It's true. But I'm just saying that Lagos State is making not billions, trillions. Their workers should not be paying 85. They will tell me what are they paying. Lagos State.
Let me tell something interesting that sometimes the minimum wage can be a bit deceptive because I know people in the civil service in Lagos State that earn quite a huge.
No, all we can go from is what is published. I took the Lagos State accounts and I took the total wages, salaries, and employee benefits.
But it's a good thing. Do you think it's a good thing that it spends less?
I don't think so. In Nigeria, I don't think so.
No, I don't know. Because it's free money to spend.
No. Not 20.
Money is being documented and published.
Okay, Olunde, let's pick up. Let's pick up the balance sheet of Zenith Bank. Let's pick the value that's the value of the statement. What does Zenith Bank pay its workers? Because these are the workers that are generating the wealth in Lagos. Lagos is making about 1.2 trillion. That's what we make.
That's where you look yourself because you can change, for example, 1.5 trillion after tax.
Okay.
In 9 months. But what they spent on wages is less. I don't really know to 18%. I can't remember the figure right now. I'll say you know what? That's why we call them the most efficient bank in the country.
Okay.
So, and we have about 4,000 workers. Where UP has about 10, and Access has about 11, First Bank has about 12,000. So
I hear you.
I hear you.
I hear you, but I'm not saying. Lagos State workers have made for the state 1.2 trillion. As of 2023, 1.2 trillion. The total wages starts in place about 199 billion. So that's about 16. That's the figures I got. I got it from the annual report. So I mean, I hear you completely, but these guys are the ones that are making the state tick. Lagos has a very, very sophisticated workforce. They're not like workforce in other states. Lagos State workers have to know what they are doing. Their treasury is like a bank treasury. They they issue bonds, they do very, very sophisticated people. So, and Lagos is a very, very expensive state. You can't pay a worker in Lagos the same as you pay a worker in, say, Ebonyi. It's not going to fly because rent alone in Ebonyi for 1 month is rent for 1 year, more or less. I'm not saying because you brought up this states.
Don't be saying I know. I genuinely know. You see, like interjecting. The reality is that you can all pay somebody who's churning out money for you mentally, physically. You're paying them 100,000 there. What does that for me?
I hear you. Okay, let me get Timothy and I get first line. Timothy, then first line and Ugo. Timothy, first line and Ugo. Timothy, you got the floor. Go ahead. Timothy, jump in real quick. Timothy going once. Timothy going twice. First light.
Oh my God! Don't be weird.
We gotta move. First light. Come on, guys. If you request to speak on, hey, first light. Yeah, go ahead.
How are you guys? How you doing?
Doing very well, first light. You just joined. I'm not sure if you can follow the space and hear the discussions we've been having as regards the flow. What's your take on it?
Yeah. Been following, but I've been in and out.
There we go.
It's a nice discussion. What was here, it goes back to what we discussed last week.
Yeah.
Right? The subnationals.
Yeah.
Anywhere I go now, I am more interested in the subnationals, honestly. Because if the subnationals functions very well, I think the issues in Nigeria regarding all these economic brouhaha we are having, it's not going to have so much impact. But then, if the subnationals are still living like a child that needs to be fed when they were being given appropriate funds, and yet we're making them looking as if they were not being given it. For me, it's very annoying. And every day I wake up, I see the way governors lead. I see the way they do their spending. Just like you just rule out now. Imagine Ezra paying 29% of its budget to do what? To pay who? And if you check the revenue they are generating in the state, it's nothing. But then all these things also boils down to money they get from the federal. Right? And also if you check out throughout this week, this debate about this tax reform, this tax bill, you could actually see that are we really ready for governance in this part of the world? Are we really serious? Rather than discussing the merit of the bill, what needs to be adjusted there to benefit the people? What needs to be done? We want a better economy, but yet we don't want those reforms. So I'm asking myself this question. What exactly do we think is going to happen if these things are not happening, if these things are not done? We want a first-class economy like other countries have in Africa, in every part of the world. You go to Rwanda, for you to do the process of your company, it takes you less than 1 week. Anything you want in Rwanda, you could actually do it from anywhere, any part of the world. Even their justice system is so straightforward. Process. But yet, when a bill is being pushed forward, the first thing we do with it is to bring in religion, is to bring in ethnicity, is to bring in demography, is to bring in who cannot afford, who cannot. And then you now wake up, somebody will tell you, we are going to do reform. And then you ask him, what is the reform you're going to do? Even the so-called presidential candidates, all of them that were saying we're going to do this, none of them are saying anything about this bill. Everybody is silent. Why? Because they feel it's going to affect their vote. Because they feel it's going to affect them coming out in 2027.
Yeah.
And this is where our problem.
So question for you. So the main topic was to say, yes, that subsidy is a cash item. You're okay with that?
Subsidy is what?
A cash item.
Yes.
And that way, like you said again, it's a subnational. We're not talking only of the federal government. We're asking people on the space. You've got to ask questions of your states and local government areas. What local governments get 33% of the 10 trillion. The 10 trillion, local governments got 33%. States got money. Yes, Columbia is saying that state governments control local government money, but you have to ask questions. Subsidy was removed. I supported it because it's going to be a revenue event. The revenue event has happened. And then we're now telling Nigerians that it's not a revenue event after all, it's a balance sheet transaction to reduce debt. That will not fly. Anybody telling you that subsidy is not a cash event is lying to you. So you want to ask yourself, why are they lying to you? They are lying to you because they don't want you to ask them what has happened to the revenues that have been received by the government since they removed subsidy. If the government cannot account for revenues from subsidy removal, should we trust them with removing VAT? VAT by next year is going to go to 10%. By 2020, when it was 1 year, it's going to go to 15%. So there are more taxes coming, but we haven't seen CNG buses. We haven't seen minimum wage. So the government has got to step up, do its own part before it taxes people. You earn 10 trillion, an extra 1 trillion from removal of subsidy, and you can't account for it. Where is the money? Naira by Kudu. What went into March, April, May, June? That's what we want to see. It's not an argument. If you love Nigeria, it's not an argument.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. I'm making a general statement.
Yes, is anybody discussing that? No. Nobody is discussing it. Rather, we have turned it to vote for you to get vote. We have turned it to Muslim versus Christian. We have turned it to Yoruba versus Hausa and Igbo.
Okay.
This is what we are trying to do.
The tax
And
bill.
that's why I'm a problem. Let's discuss the merit of this thing. Let's dissect it. Let's bring out the loopholes. Let's bring out what is good. Let's bring out the one that is wrong in it. So that at the end of the day, we can get a genuine reform with that document. That's what I'm saying.
I talk about the tax document. The tax document, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. I'm not seeing that discussion. Look at what you just broke out, what you just threw out there. Some of us have seen it. But believe you me, all the people that are discussing it, they are not even discussing it from that.
I would just say overall on that tax bill, right, it's going to change Nigeria, I think, for the better. But I think that the government has not really explained it. It was just the chairman, Mr. Oloye, the tax guy, that really did a good explanation last week. They haven't explained it properly. And yeah.
But those are the people who were working on the document. And you know what? They've been working on it over a year.
You know what they say, word of mouth is the best motivator. If the person that wants to tax you is explaining to you, you are going to be suspicious because he wants you to agree with him. It's better if somebody else explains it to you than you are listening, because it's like a policeman telling you park, you already know there's going to be a tax coming. So when the policeman says, where's your particulars? You already know he's asking not because he wants to see your particulars, but because he wants to tax you. So there should be, I'm not sure how they've communicated this, but it was dying because of lack of communication. And it's a very, very good bill. It's not perfect, but it's one of the best proposals that I've seen from the Nigerian government. 4 bills to clean up tax administration, a lot of, exemptions, a lot of benefits to the individual taxpayer, to small business owners. It will also change fiscal federalism. It will say if you are a state and you cannot be imaginative how you want to raise revenues, you will suffer. But if you are a state, even a small state, and you are able to generate or add value, you get a lot of revenue. The key word is add value. They're not touching corporate income taxes. They're touching VAT, add value. So whatever you do in your state, add value revenues. Why would anyone be against that? But the folks that are against it are talking because I don't think they've seen the total bills, 4 bills in one. One would net out the other. If they tax you here, you get a benefit here. So that's my take on that first line. Let's get on to hopping. Thank you so much. I've got Engineer Khalid. Engineer Khalid, when you want to spoke earlier, this one has a picture now. Engineer Khalid. Engineer.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Why you want to spoke earlier?
Yeah, I was speaking and then the other guy jumped in.
Okay, that didn't have a picture, so this one has a picture. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead and contribute, sir.
All right. So, first of all, I want to look at the figure you pointed topic of the discussion.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you put in 20 billion naira. Is it naira or dollar?
20,
What you are saying?
20 billion for what, sir? Could you be specific?
From the subsidy.
Oh, I said the total savings was 10 trillion. The increase was 1 trillion. Yeah, from last year. The total, what they shared in total was 10 trillion. An increase of 1 trillion. That's what I said.
Okay, so according to the minister,
Mm-hmm.
he said Nigeria saved $20 billion.
Yeah.
From the subsidies.
Yeah.
And we have a budget of $27 billion.
Yeah.
So, we also sell, as of last year, 2023, we sold crude of about $30 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's not even look at the VATs we collect, what the customs are making, and all other AGRs. So it's safe to say Nigeria can fund its budget without actually borrowing.
I doubt it. To be honest with you, I doubt it because even currently, we are operating a deficit budget. Currently, last year also deficit, which means that even if we just take that savings is on the fact that the government is look at it this way: your car is moving because you put fuel in the car. So if you don't put fuel in the car won't move. You make income. And if my analogy is making sense to you, the 20 billion you are seeing as a savings is because the economy is functioning and we're importing petrol. If you remove that, say, that's 100% of that subsidy, I doubt we can use that money. That is cash that is coming to the system. But I doubt that alone can fund the application. The 28 billion is funded by a deficit already. Half of it already. So it's difficult. We don't make any money in Nigeria. We don't really make a lot of income in Nigeria, if you ask me.
So now what I'm saying, if we are saving $20 billion for not paying subsidies.
Not just subsidy on PMS, sir. It's also subsidy on the dollar. Do you understand?
Yeah,
so what they are saying is that because we have floated in Naira, we save money there. Okay, so if we there's no savings, that one has gone. That one is that the government is not using money to defend the Naira anymore. So it's a savings, but that one is not like fuel subsidies. There's no income coming to Nigeria when we remove the floats on dollar. There's no income coming in. But on the subsidy side, there's income coming from NPC to Nigeria. I'm not sure if that makes sense to you, sir.
Yeah. So that aside, we keep saying we should ask our governors, we should ask our local government chairman, what are they doing with all these monies that is being shared from the federal government. Me, my question is, why is the federal government sending all these monies to the state governors and the local governments? Because the way I see it, last year, the state governments and the local governments, if you want to compare their performances, I don't think there's any improvement. So if you are collecting this money that is supposed to be used for all these subsidies, and now you are giving it to the state governors and the local government chairman, and you want us to ask them questions. What I want you to do from my own point of view, why are you collecting this money that is supposed to benefit an ordinary citizen and then giving it to someone that you will not check how he spends that money?
It's because the Constitution says you have to do it that way. They are following the Constitution. So the Constitution says that when they get money, they have to share it to the state and local government. That's why they are going that way, sir.
So there is actually need for a critical look at the Constitution, because if we cannot check these people on how to spend these monies, then the money should go directly into the budget of the federal government, not just sharing these monies.
Yeah, but that we have to change the Constitution. That's what it means, yeah.
Yeah, since at the end of the day, these monies that people are supposed to benefit from, they are not benefiting from it. So just centralize the whole thing, use that money and fund the federal budget, so that we can ask you and you will will not have anywhere to
No state. You shouldn't fund the state. You know it's not going to fly. You know it's not going to fly. Right? You know it's not going to. What you're saying is not going to fly. Because it's a federation. You are saying we should only have one tier of government. Is that what you're saying? Like go back to the military system, like the military. Is that what you're saying?
Non-military system, because now they are trying to push this tax bill as everyone is speaking about them, and if it passes, that means the states are going to be generating their own monies, and they should be able to carry out all these things.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying that the constitution like is very, very funny. He says that any naira you get, you must share. That's what it says. That's what we don't have. We don't have a sovereign wealth fund. We've tried in the past for sovereign wealth fund, and we just got it recently. We only have a little bit of money in there because the constitution says the money has got to be shared. So the federal government really can do its own, but states don't have to follow the federal government, and that's the problem. If we get 100 tons from oil, we've got to share it to states and government areas. That's really the problem, sir. I hear you, but I'm saying you have to change the constitution for that to happen.
Yeah, so I think that's where we should look at, because I don't see the point when you are giving someone money and then that person is not accounting for that money, and you still give him more money again tomorrow so that you go and be spending it.
I think a better bet is to say that the citizens ask their governors, because I don't think it's wrong to share money when the federation, but when money has gone to Abia State and to Harvard government area, go and ask and hold people to account. If the citizens don't hold people to account, nothing will happen. That's the honest truth. If you don't hold people to account, Ghana's income has doubled, GDP per capita has doubled, Rwanda GDP per capita has doubled, Burkina Faso's GDP per capita has doubled, Nigeria did not double. So we have a real problem on our hands, engineer. Let me get Abdullah in here just to follow up. Abdullah Yusuf, what's your take on what's going on, sir? Abdullah.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to say one or two. I think engineer is being emotional about the problem we are having, and actually the major problem of Nigeria is not even the federal government, but the state government, and by extension the governors. Why I'm saying this is, if you look at the amount of money we are receiving from FAC every month and compare the actual development on ground in this state, it amounts to nothing. Fortunately, most of this, instead of investing these monies in projects and programs that will generate more monies, generate employment for the youth, bring the life of the common man, they will